A very warm good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to our viewers. I'm Matthias Ofiku, news editor of the Namibian Sun newspaper. Welcome to another edition of the Evening Review Show. Another exciting edition is awaiting us tonight. But before we get into the gist of tonight's discussion, let's have a look at tomorrow's headlines. Well, in the Namibian Sun tomorrow, IPC Councillor Chivarongo denies the allegations made against her. Of course, we know that she's been suspended, Ms. Ferika, but it seems she said loggerheads with the party and counterclaims being made against each other, but she still maintains that she has done nothing wrong and that she should indeed reassume her position and continue with her duties of serving the community. Well, the fight regarding the status of the Bobata National Park, the proclamation made over 2 decades ago, continues to draw a wedge between the Ambukushu Traditional Authority and government. The authority is particularly against the issue of cattle not being allowed into the national park for grazing purposes. So they want that to be relooked, and the matter is currently before Parliament. Also, good news for hunters, local, and of course the internationals. The hunting season is opening up very soon, so activity is expected in that regard. Of course, for game-proof, the farms with game-proof fencing and so on. So we'll see how that goes. There's been issues of wildlife and human-wildlife conflict, so perhaps it can help as a mitigating factor in this regard. Well, I did promise you an exciting edition in today's show. And we're joined in studio by Mr. Peterson Kambinda. He's the Commander-in-Chief of the Namibia Revolutionary Transport Union. Welcome, sir.
Welcome. Thank you very much for giving us the invite to come here to come share our message.
Yeah. No, it's indeed, it's good to have you here again.
Yeah, no, well, thank you very much. To come back to this progressive program is always a welcoming remark to us.
Yeah. Well, Peterson, let's get into the business. You had a press conference this morning. What was it all about?
Yeah, no, the press conference we had this morning, we were raising a lot of issues. Point number one, we touched about arbitrators in the country. We talked about a national strike, and we talked about some ministers having or companies owned by certain politically connected people and ministers. And then we talked about also a feedback of our meeting which we held with the Minister of Labor. So those are some of the important topics we discussed today.
Yeah. Well, your union seems to be on a warpath with the Labor Ministry, and we know how critical the transport sector is to the country's economy. Are you guys struggling to find common grounds with the ministry?
Yeah, we have to be able to put it on record that as an organization, we are finding it difficult, both with the ministry and then the most important leg of that ministry, which is the Office of the Labor Commissioner, that somewhere, somehow, you can be able to see that the Ministry of Labor, if we have to start from it, is one of the most important ministry in the country. And then if that ministry is not forging harmonious labor relations in the country can easily be able to go on flames, and which we have tried now to try it, because the president always used to say that he encouraged always engagements, and that is what we have tried to write to all our key stakeholders to try to find common ground. But we are really, I have to be able to put it on record that that building in Commercedal, it is not doing what is expected. The output from that building, it is not satisfactory.
Yeah. I'd like to know from you, what has changed in the way unions conduct their business nowadays? It seems that regardless whether it's a transport union, whether it's in the food sector, whether it's in the agriculture sector, there seems to be this hurdle to successfully engage and reach common grounds. Unlike in the past where unions could be, well, in boardrooms with employers or, say, government, and they come out with a solution. What's wrong today?
Yeah, the biggest problem I can be able to say, which we are saying, is that, as I have just indicated earlier, that when that building in Commercedal, the output is not satisfactory, it becomes very problematic. Because let me be able to tell you this. One of the problems which we are facing, why employers they are becoming so arrogant, is because they have seen the loophole in the Ministry of Labor and also in the office of the Labor Commissioner.
What is that loophole, if you may?
And the loophole is like this. Let me be able to tell you. I can be able to narrate it for you shortly like this. Union, let me say, we have got majority. We apply for a recognition. As we apply for recognition, the company knows that we have majority. Out of 120 employees of Namibian Sun, we got, let me say, 70. That makes us that we got majority.
Yeah.
When we apply, Namibian Sun respond that no, we cannot recognize you. And then you don't have majority, knowingly that we have majority. And as we are going to be able to refer, because the only process which is in the Labor Act is to refer the matter to the Office of the Labor Commissioner. When you refer the matter to the Office of the Labor Commissioner, the Labor Commissioner, we have to commend them partly on this part that they always allocate the time. The time they don't have a problem. They will be able to allocate that, okay, the matter between Namibian Sun and Naretu is going to be heard on the 15th of May.
Yeah.
On the 15th of May, we are going to go for that arbitration. When we get there, the arbitrators, that they will hear both sides, try to conciliate the matter. If it cannot, then it goes for an arbitration. But as it's going to go for an arbitration, the loophole which is there is that Office of the Labor Commissioner is understaffed. These people have a lot of cases which are coming to that ministry. Now for them, according to the law, Labor Act, they have within 30 days, they're supposed to give an award. But what is happening currently, that loophole is that because they are understaffed, it can take 3 to 4 months for them to give an award which was supposed to be given within 30 days. And employers knows about this. So they are exploiting this loophole. And then some of the arbitrators, they are empowered by the Labor Act. What is the requirement for a union to be recognized? A union must be able to be registered and a union must be able to have majority. But even irrespective of these two reasons, important critical reasons, you will find that an arbitrator is still allowing the respondent to be able to go bring something like some of these arbitrations which we are having. A company is telling you that we cannot be able to recognize you until such a time you need to provide us your financial standing, which is not in our constitution, it is not in the Labor Act, but then an arbitrator is allowing such type of argument into an arbitration. So because the companies, they know about these loopholes and they are exploiting them.
Yeah. So then should your focus then not be on the ministry that is empowered by the Constitution to ensure that the labor laws of these countries are upheld?
It's a very good question, but I can easily also be able to respond to you that some of these companies we are fighting for, all of them, they were registered. And even if you go on their websites, even if you go to where they are affiliated to, you will find one key word into whatever their motto is that they respect workers' rights. Now, if a company which is registered to say that it's going to be able to adhere to all the laws and the provisions of this country. But then it's the same company again violating the Labor Act. So instead, first, before fighting, that is why you see that before we even went further, the first letters we have written to is to employers. After writing letters to employers, the second letter went to their federation. The third letter went to the Labor Commissioner. The fourth letter we wrote, the last custodian is the Minister of Labor. So we went through all the necessary process that we wanted first to engage the employers. After they refused, we moved to the next step, the third step, and then lastly, the minister.
Yeah. Peterson, before we go to a short break, I'd like to know from you what you make of the following statement. Some employers have in recent weeks alleged that it seems that unions have nowadays lost the skill of negotiating and have resorted to force. I mean, you've seen certain civic movements and land movements ambushing workplaces in recent weeks. What do you make of that claim that you guys do not know how to negotiate anymore? You just want to fight?
You see, I will definitely dispute that claim that unions have lost ways on negotiations. No. Because why I'm saying like that is that a lot of unions are spending significant amount of money on empowering the trade unionists on the ground so that they can be able to get to the level of understanding and then to negotiate.
Yeah.
But the biggest problem, as I have indicated earlier, is that the reason you are seeing people resorting, even going to such an extent of involving political parties, is people have lost the trust into the systems.
Yeah.
Because when people feel hopeless, that is the time you can be able to see that even you today, if you go onto the street and you start telling people that if you come to me, I'm going to solve your problems, people will start running to you. Why? Because systems, process, and institutions, they are not delivering to their mandate.
Yeah.
And that is where the problem is. That's why you are seeing now that people are resorting to that. But the main thing also is that irrespective, we are talking about the bad things. There is, since from our inception, I can be able to say that there had been we have made significant progress with a lot of employers, which, those ones which are coming with the purpose to solve problems.
Yeah.
Yes, we are sitting down and we engage, and you don't hear us talking about them because we are resorting, even as we speak now. There is some companies which we are busy with salaries negotiations. Some have already given their employees salaries increases and all of those things. We cannot go out there if we have solved the issues amicably. We cannot go out there and badmouth them or talk bad about them, because we are resolving, and there are a lot of them. If you look at us now, Naretu, so far as we speak, we are in more than 100 companies where we have members. But then ask yourself why we are only mentioning 6 companies out of 100. It's only those ones which are being problematic. The rest which we are sorting our issues with, you will not be hearing them.
Yeah. Well, you'll come and tell us about those problematic companies after this short break.
Okay.
Well, let's go for a short break and we'll be back soon to continue the second half of the program.
Adam Tas is coming to Windhoek to help build a brighter future for education. Join us at the Sounds of Caring concert at Windhoek High School Vegkop on 20 and 21 May, where he will be performing with Von Arends and Rian Smith. Tickets cost 200 Namibian dollars and are available via eticket.my.na. All proceeds go towards the African Child Development Trust.
Well, let me welcome our viewers back from the short break. Peterson, let's continue our conversation.
Yes.
Last month, Nareto held a meeting at the Labor Ministry with Minister Utoni Nyoma.
Yeah.
Can you run us through the events of that meeting and how it ended?
Yeah, no, we normally don't used to be in the business of disclosing the contents of a meeting.
So how do you account your members?
But then, as you know, that a union, we are not here for ourselves. Because even when I'm speaking now, I'm not speaking on behalf of S. Peterson, but I'm speaking on behalf of the weight which I have on my shoulders. So we went, as I have narrated earlier, that we have tried speak to employers their arrogance. Wrote to the Labor Commissioner, we were not responded. We wrote to the Federation, they told us, no, companies, they are going to be able to start following the Labor Act and all of that. But it was just lip service. We wrote to the minister. We wrote also even to the Inspector General of the Namibian Police, where we told them that, look, the people are tired. And now what they want is that they want to take the law into their own hands. And that is by letting the trucks stand. So we went and we as leaders, we wait what is going to be the outcome if trucks, even just for 1 day, be able to stand in Namibia. We cannot afford it. So we thought that, no, let us write to the minister, go and brief him that this is what our members are contemplating on, and then see what we are going to come out with. We got there. Little did we know that it was just a stunt the minister was pulling out to say that maybe, because we also were informed that maybe parliamentarians, they wanted to go ask him what he's doing about the strike which was about to happen. So he just called us in just for him to go tell parliament that yes, I called those people in and I have advised. But when we got there, the minister we briefed him everything what is happening. And what we were expecting is that...
Are you accusing the minister of not calling the meeting in good faith?
Yeah, it was just a public stunt, that one, we can call it that way. That we got there, the minister just, after briefing him, he told us that, yes, comrades, we have heard what you have said, but unionism is not easy. It's difficult. So what I can tell you is that it's better go out there and let the struggle continue. That is what we took out of from his message. And then we ask, in independent Namibia, we have rule of law, not a rule of men. The country have gotten independence. People are being treated so badly. We narrated everything to him, and you are telling us that, no, the struggle must continue. And he told us, no, comrades, as you know, I have also other issues which I need to be able to attend to. So this meeting is adjourned. And now we said, we are just beginning. How can the meeting be able to be adjourned? So that was it was a very horrific. And even when we came out there, because our members really, they were waiting. They knew about this meeting and they were waiting. And when we came back from there, when our members asked us, give us the feedback from the minister. One does not even know where to begin to give the feedback to the members about our encounter with the minister. It was very, very horrific.
So what's the way forward now? I mean, there's all this tension between yourselves and the ministry. Of course, this is a relationship that needs to be worked on. It can't be left just to chance and just be the way it is now.
Yeah, no.
Or else, how will you then push your mandate to fight for the rights of your members?
You see, the Namibia is a country with laws. And our people, unfortunately, we are a union which have to be able to be mandated by our members. But now as we speak now, I can be able to tell you that Namibia, let me just talk a little bit on something, that Namibia and South Africa, we share a border. Events which happens in South Africa, our people, you must know that our people, majority of them are truck drivers. They go to South Africa. they see what happens, and they know what those other people in South Africa are doing. I can tell you that if it is not for us to be a shield between employers and our members, which we have successfully, I can say that, which we have tried to manage.
Yeah.
But that weight, as we speak now, we have been trying, but our members are pushing us against the wall. And what we can just be able to see is that if this status quo continue, I can tell you that there will be a day which we will be able to wake up and there is no food in the shops. There will not be materials being delivered into the shops or wherever it's supposed to be able to be delivered, because our people, they are fed up. They are just want to take the matters into their own hands. So from our side, what we are saying is that those employers, they are very strong, qualified labor practitioners. All what is needed, if in my view, that Ministry of Labor or the Office of the Labor Commissioner is no need to be bombarded with lot of cases. If the Ministry of Labor start, because we must be able to look at it into this context also. The context I wanted to paint is this one. If there was sound labor relations into this country, the Minister of Labor could not be able to have a lot of cases which they cannot be able to handle up to now. Because issues could just be able to be solved between employer and employee and trade unions. Then that ministry, the people at least they can be able to deal with other cases. But some of the cases which are going there is unnecessary. So the way forward here is that employers and employees and trade unions, we really need to be able to work together, considering that we just came out of this COVID pandemic. Now we want to be able to recover our economy. The only way we can recover it is us by working together. So those employer-employee relationship and trade unions, it needs to start working. And then the ministry, being the father figure, need also to be able to leave these biasness things and then start dealing and guiding the industry. Because if that ministry in Commerce-Dal, if it continues the way it's going on, as you can just be able to see, even political parties now and movements, even an individual is now standing up and getting into the affairs of employee-employer relationship. Why? It's because that building is failing this nation.
As we wrap up our conversation, one of the main accusations you've also leveled this morning during your press statement was the issue of arbitrators allegedly being in the pockets of employers and decision makers such as politicians having shares in some of these companies which you term as rogue companies, the infamous 6 companies that you mentioned. And what have you done about this? Have you come out with any tangible proof to say arbitrator A, arbitrator B, we know this is the situation, or it's just another lip talk affair going on?
Let me start from arbitrators. We have been in the industry for quite too long. When we arrive in arbitration or conciliation, you will be able to see yourself that this colleague, because the purpose of the arbitrator, you see there is a Labor Act and there is rules for conciliation and arbitrations. There is a checklist. So if this person is deliberately covering one eye on something which is on the checklist, why? As we know that there is a lot of brown envelopes roaming around the streets. Arbitrators, they are just people just like any other person. In our country, some people dispute it, but it's one of the most corrupted countries where people are exchanging these envelopes. So when we walk in there, we know when the purpose of an arbitrator, me and you, if we have issue, that arbitrator comes in between us to assist us to solve that issue. But when this person is just tilting on one side, we know about that. And there is a lot of things. There are time to be exposed. It will be able to come. Let me come to those companies which we have, what we have noted with very, very serious concern is that companies which are treating employees very bad, I can tell it to you today. Companies owned by politically connected people. Company owned, most of us, companies owned by those kids, or let me just be able to put it, kids or proxies of ministers. Those companies, they are the ways of. Last week, I can give you a serious thing. It's not something that maybe someone told me. Members came and registered with us. When they came to register, we did not know who's the owner of this company, because the company just came in abbreviation.
Yeah.
I take a phone call, I call. When I call, the person is asking, who are you? I said, no, my name is Peterson Kambinda. I'm the CIC for Nareto. The reason I'm calling you is that these employees have joined the union. This person have been in the government for very long, 30 years in the government. Very serious position in the government, which I don't want to mention. The person is telling me, where's your office so I can come to your office and then can put you in your place. I said, oh, put me in my place because people have joined our union. He said, yes. Why should they join a union as like I don't pay? Now this person had been in the parliament for almost 20 years, but this person does not know that these people, they have the freedom to join a union.
Yeah.
But the person wanted to come put me in my place simply because those people have joined the union. So these are politicians, they are passing the laws, some of them. But those same laws which they are passing, they don't want to respect them.
Yeah.
So those are the challenges which we are having with politicians, and they are very arrogant. And you see also, let me just conclude in this way, that some of this company, we have it on good authority. The reason they are so arrogant is because they know that they are politically connected. And they know that the proxies of some of these ministers, they are the ones sitting at their board. So they feel as like when a minister is sitting at their board, then they can disregard the law, because some of the things you can even ask that why an arbitrator have to delay an award for 5-6 months because of those political connections. Why, if there is some companies, you go sit today for an arbitration, after 2 weeks, you will receive an award. You go sit for an arbitration. One company, which we are accusing here, that company we are starting from last year, October, up to now.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Peterson, thank you very much for your time today. And we wish you all the best going forward.
No, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thanks to the viewers.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was all from the Evening Review team tonight. See you again tomorrow, same place, same time.